It is 10:09 a.m. and I haven't traded anything, a lot of potential setups, but nothing really just clicked into place. The closest one was LWLG, and this could have been like a thing where, it has a move from the 790 to the 840s and then a downtrend. I wanted it to get around VWAP, and never really did it. It based it off of this level, and I just didn't really like it. In theory, I could have been in at 827, and I'd be up just 3 pennies right now on this setup. I just didn't think it was that likely that it was going to work. Although it did a nice morning spike here, it consolidated. Sure, it could do it again. I just felt like it was less likely that it could do something like that. But at least as of right now, if I were to have bought at 27, 827, I would be up just 3 pennies in hopes that it can continue the uptrend and maybe even break the day high. That would be super nice too. And yeah, I mean, it's not the best daily chart, but it could be something I could try to turn around. It is a listed stock, so they're not as nice, but I'll make an update to see what this one does eventually. DPLS was an ugly morning panic bounce play. I didn't like the way it did it. I never got in for that reason. It was trading all weird. And there was like a 400K seller at 58, and they did buy it out immediately. I thought it was going to struggle around that level. It just broke past it, and in theory, maybe a buy at 57 and then a sell in the 59s, and even that's not really that good in terms of percentage, so really not really the best. I was interested in CYBL when it had this uptrend that, it could do the thing where it drops under VWAP or at VWAP, consolidate. As you can see from the price action, it was ugly. No interest in KG. CLNV, I was watching this for a break past this 84 level and something more. It did try here a little bit, but it failed, and now it's less interesting to me because the volume is fading. And I think that's all. Maybe LKNCY. This one could be something maybe if it breaks 9. The problem is that it's on a gap up, so it could very well just try to fill the gap at some point. It doesn't have to uptrend, but yeah, that's really about it for right now. I will be interested in DPLS if it does like a higher low, lower low, or a double bottom off of this level right here. But as of that, out of the way, I don't see anything else that I want to trade right now. Okay, it is 10:53 a.m. and I want to go over a trade with HYMC. It's kind of working. It's not a setup that has failed, but I'm not in it anymore. However, this is a listed stock. As you can see, there's a NASDAQ market maker right there in the level 2. And this is not a good listed stock. This one has like bad news, and it's also a very heavily shorted stock. So my idea was that this thing shows that it has volatility. It was in theory basing off of this 130 level. It was support here, and in theory it could be support here as well. It has volatility. As you can see, it has a lot of price movement. So I thought, okay, this could be something where there are going to be a lot of dip buyers in the 130s, and on top of that, short sellers might have to cover if they see it's not breaking the 130s, at least as nice as they would like it to. Maybe it's just taking too long, so they're going to cover, or maybe they have a margin call they have to get out of their short position because they have been holding it for too long, or maybe the fees are too high to short this because it is a hard to short stock at this point. So my idea was that I was seeing this price action where it downtrended, it got to this level and it had an uptrend, and then it put up in theory like a higher low. So this is a higher low off of here, and it was already uptrending, and I wanted to in theory be in near the day low around this 135 level, but because it was still uptrending right here and it was in the 140s, and I thought, okay, well, this could be something that can maybe make it like a big squeeze towards the upside, and I'm gonna miss out because I'm waiting for a dip to buy into. Let me go ahead and just enter in 2 positions, and that's what I did. At 10:28, I was in it right here at this 141.5 level, and I was thinking, okay, well, if it's going to uptrend right here, right now, at least I'm in half a position. But if it downtrends to where I would like to, be sized in, then I can buy the other half. And then you know, at that point I'm exposed to a potential move towards the upside and I'll be able to profit from it. But if it downtrends, I'm only in half my size, and then I'll be able to add the rest if it looks like it's going to downtrend and hold at a support level. If it just downtrends immediately for my entry and it breaks my ideal risk level, then I will just cut the trade right then and there, and that will be a half-sized position cut, so that will be totally fine. In theory, I was thinking about this 135 level breaking and cutting it if it were to have done that, and I had a wide risk. I had, in theory, a risk that maybe the level here 135 breaks, and then worst case scenario I'm out at 125 because of, you know, a big red candle that a listed stock can do. Worst case scenario, which was a worry that I had, is that it will downtrend, break the support level, and because there's so many people selling, panic selling, it gets halted, and that's something I don't want to be a part of. And it doesn't look like something that gets halted. It looks like something that has a lot of volatility, but not a type of stock that can get halted. So again, I was in at that point, and it did downtrend, right? And then when it started to you know, break this downtrending trend line that I drew here from this candle to this candle, when it broke past it and it showed that it was potentially trying to consolidate and hold, there was a lot of people supporting it at 136. I was in at 1034, the other 15 shares at almost 138 right here. So I was in it right around this level right here, and it started to trade back and forth. There was like a level 2 battle with 136 and 137, and the people who were dumping their shares at Ask One, they did push it at 135. I did get out at 136 at 1041 when it looked like it was gonna really break under the level, because it was like a huge injection of just red prints just going through, like the entire thing, if not most of it, was just filled with red prints, and it just really looked like it was gonna break the level. And I didn't want to be a part of something that maybe breaks this level at 136 and it's just a tsunami panic and the stupid thing gets halted, and I'm like, crap, that sucks. So I cut it there, and it did break 136. It did hold this 135 level, but I'll be honest, the way it was looking like in the level 2 in the price action, even though it did turn around, it really looked like it was going to break 135. It was like a last second ditch where just a huge injection, I guess, of just green prints and buys just went through, and it made an uptrend, and now it could still do it. I don't like how VWAP has been downtrending the entire time, and it did have an uptrend here, but it got choked right at this VWAP level. So I'll continue to watch and see what I can do. I only lost $1 from that trade, and I think that was a good experience. The percent loss sucks, but you know, I had that in mind that maybe I'm in and it's at a top, and then I'll add the other half at a bottom, then to just wait until it in theory gets to the level I want to buy, but then it just continues to make a move towards the upside, and I missed out completely. So that's what I have to pay for that, and that's totally fine. As for the other stocks, DPLS actually was something I wanted to consider for a breakout past 60. There was a big 400K seller at the ask. I guess it might have been more than that, and the level 2 is broken again. It's broken again. So I saw that it broke past and even had some freaky prints as high as here. And I looked at the level 2 and I saw a 400K seller still there at 60. So I thought it was just like a big volume explosion and now it's going to come back. But it turned out that it actually was trading above the 60 level, except that I didn't understand it properly because the level 2 was broken. So I have interactive brokers, and I'm going to keep interactive brokers. You know, it might look like it's accurate, but it's not. Like, it's just from another time period. 606 by 613. The level 2 is broken again. So I'm going to stick with interactive brokers for level 2 data tomorrow as well in the market open, just to avoid any potential issues with that. And it did make a continuation from the 60 level to 63, so I guess 5%, but the way it got there wasn't really that nice. As for LWLG, it did get as high as 840, so that one actually was a setup that worked out. I just would have liked it more if it played off of VWAP. No interest with CYBL. IWS, I guess, is trying to make a move towards. I guess it's trying to break 14.5. I don't really like it, but you can try to do something. Oh, and it looks like this one's actually trying to do it now, but this one is very sketchy because it's up on a gap up. I'll make an update later and see what HYMC does later, but that was my attempt right there. Very small loss, but I think it was worth the experience. Okay, it is 9:33 p.m. and I am here to call it off. Overall today I'm down just $1 trying a trade with HYMC, which did not really work out. It kind of worked out, but not really the way I wanted it to. And that was an entry, just to summarize, way back here at 10:28, which was an entry right here. And then another one when it was consolidating, and I got out because it looks like it was going to break the level. I was out at 10:41. It did get to 135. It never broke it, and it ended up being a support level. It did, I guess, upturn to 140. I thought this thing had more volatility when you look at for example, a one-day chart. It just seems like something that has the craziness to really make a nice squeeze and do something cool. But it's been really, really I guess solidified. It's not really moving that well anymore. And I mean, I guess this was the ultimate one, right? When it was doing that battle, I guess, the level 2 battle near the lows, it made a move towards VWAP, which would have been what I wanted. It didn't do it here. It did it much later. So in theory, the setup worked, just not when I was in it. It did eventually break this level. There was a lot of volume, as you can see here, and it came back. I don't think I'm going to mess with this one anymore, but I think that was a good attempt for what it was. DPLS was a really horrible morning panic bounce play that I did not get in. It just traded ugly, and then the E-Trade level 2 threw me off, so I didn't get in. In theory, I would have liked to have played the breakout over this 60 level, and that was something that continued to move towards the upside, but I guess the range wasn't that amazing ultimately. Nothing with CYBL. CLMV isn't really anything I would have traded. And this was the setup with LWLG. This one worked out, which is pretty cool. It did sell off. I wanted to have traded it afterwards, but this one worked out. I just wanted it to have dropped where VWAP was. And ILUS is uptrending. That's about it. Maybe it can try to continue. And if it can uptrend for a few days, it can be a potential morning panic bounce play. LKNCY really popped off. I wanted to really have traded it. You can see it's all ugly looking, and it was sketchy because it did that gap up, but it did play off of the level here, which I thought was interesting when it broke roughly this 910 level, and it got to the 930s. So yeah, that's about it. One attempt. Very happy to have a very small red trade, and the setup did work out ultimately, just not when I tried it. That's all I have for today.